Do you ever feel quite nostalgic and decide to go back and look at the previous Pokemon episodes? The episode where Ash caught 30 Tauros, for example. An episode that's actually the only time we see the Kanto Safari Zone shown. Maybe the episode that features an artificial paper crane that fights in the system of the Pokeball Transporter. Or how about a beach competition? No? Don't remember them? Well, there's a reason for that. Pokemon, especially early on, had a multitude of issues when it came to the anime, and multiple episodes were suspended, banned, or unreleased. By the end of Ash's journey, this was relatively sorted out. Only one episode was banned or unreleased past 2017. But episodes were banned or suspended for multiple reasons, including real-life tragedies, inappropriate content, poor country relations, and sometimes no reason was given at all. Let's look into the forbidden episodes in its history, and discuss the blanks that it eventually led in the anime. Before we start, I do want to say that some of the topics discussed here are very sensitive. A multitude of the reasons why some of these episodes were banned, as mentioned, including real life tragedies and inappropriate content. I feel it's important to mention that before we get into this topic. Okay, let's get started. The first type we're going to discuss is the universally banned or unaired episodes. Every episode on this list either went completely unaired or was aired in Japan and then banned at a later date. And the first episode to talk about is the most notorious episode of all time, Electric Soldier Porygon. This episode was very infamous due to it sending over 600 children to the hospital with seizures. Some of these cases were mild, but some of these were more serious. The episode is based around the Pokeball Transporter system. In this system, a virus has been set up by Team Rocket inside, and the protagonists enter the system to counteract it. As the two teams battle, which involves two Porygons, one that's on Team Rocket's side that has been stolen, and one on the protagonist's side, an antivirus is uploaded that seems to resemble like a spaceship. Due to an oversight, this antivirus tries to wipe out everything in the system, which includes our protagonists. As such, a battle is started against this antivirus. Rockets are launched, and Pikachu electric shocks them, causing an explosion that sets off lights that flash at a ridiculous speed. It's these very lights that cause the seizures. The episode had a massive effect on the series and anime as a whole. For one, they went on a hiatus for 4 months, which caused episodes to be aired out of line or released in different orders, and it caused a lot of regulation changes in terms of anime and its production. Effects which were slowed down, including in the opening and going forward. Due to how fast the lights were shown, this could not be repeated. The series returned after a 4-month hiatus, and despite the massive backlash that actually happened, the main thing that actually took a hit from the episode was Porygon. It and its 2 evolutions had been featured scarcely since this episode, if even at all, as technically the mascot Pikachu used an electric shot that caused the effects to happen. To this very day, Electric Soldier Porygon remains the only fully banned episode ever fully released. An English dub is rumoured to have been made but never released, and Japan have never allowed the episode to re-air or be re-released in any capacity. A few episodes were completely unaired globally, the first of which was the first episode immediately following Electric Soldier Porygon, which was the hour-long clip show to be aired called New Year's Eve Pocket Monsters Encore. Clip shows for the Pokemon series have been very frequent in Pokemon, but tend to go unaired in the English dub in general. But this one went completely unaired in Japan, never seen the light of day. Advanced Generations episode 101 was the first episode that includes some sort of plot within the series to be completely unaired anywhere. The episode featured Barboach and Wishcash using Earthquake. Unfortunately, not long before airing, an earthquake hit Japan in 2004, and the decision was made quite rightfully that it would be insensitive to air given the time it would. The only plot point missed within the episode was Ash learning where the final Hoenn gym was, and the decision was made that this could be missed. From this point on, the moves Fissure, Magnitude, and Earthquake were no longer used within the anime series. 2 more episodes went completely unaired in Japan, and these 2 episodes seem to be integral to the plot of the anime in general. Black and White episodes 23 and 24 were scheduled to be the introduction to the anime for Team Plasma, with Team Rocket facing off against them in the episode. Unfortunately, a tragedy occurred a week before episode 23, with the tsunami and the earthquake in 2011, which completely devastated Japan. TV Tokyo highlighted that these episodes were scheduled to air at some point, as the plan was for these episodes to be very significant in terms of the plot of the anime. For people who have played Black and White, they will understand the importance of Team Plasma, Get Sis, and so on and so forth. A decision was made to remove the cliffhanger from the previous episode in the dub, to not cause confusion while a decision was made for when these episodes would air. This was never forthcoming, however. The 2 episodes would be completely lost and eventually retconned from being in the continuity. This was a massive deviation from their original plot, and was something that was never explained. It was quite understandably moved and delayed on release, but there was an indication they were going to air it at some point, and to then deviate from their entire plan was quite strange. When Team Plasma eventually debuted in the anime much later, the goals seemed to be different and toned down. This is unfortunately one we'll never get the answer to. Scripts of this episode were actually released in 2023. So while we have a better understanding of what the plan was with the episodes, we will sadly never get an answer as to why it was unaired in general. Okay, it's time to move on to the episodes that were completely banned in the West, which means it's time to start talking about 4Kids. But first, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Most people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to my channel. Hit that button as it really helps me out. Now, for the most part, these episodes were not dubbed, with the exception of one, which is the first on our list, which is Beauty on the Beach. This is the only episode on this list to receive a dub but then be later removed. And it's pretty clear the reasoning behind this. The episode features a beauty contest on the beach in which James receives, let's say, a inflatable device located in the chest region. Hopefully YouTube's okay with that one. In an effort to help him win. While this particular scene itself was not shown in the dub, due to its obviously provocative nature, as well as some questionable comments that are made throughout the episode, again, mostly in the original version, this episode would eventually be removed, and would then disappear never to be seen on home release. The first major plot point caused by Western dubbing missing it was episode 35, Legend of Dratina. In this episode we see the Safari Zone for the first and only time, while Ash somehow manages to capture 30 Tauros. Only trouble is, well, our Safari Warden seems to have a love for guns, which is shown multiple times throughout the series. Naturally, this is shown to be quite violent, especially for an anime that is aimed at kids. The dubbing company 4Kids were extremely notorious for some of their dubbing decisions when it came to the trifecta of big series that they had at the time. They had managed to snare hold of One Piece, which has gone on to be the best-selling manga of all time as of 2023, as well as Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Two series that have the trading card game markets in like the walls of Jericho. Yeah, that was the first wrestling reference that came to my mind. And that's not to mention the fact that Pokemon has literally become the biggest money-making franchise in existence. Now, I will one day make a video discussing the complete mess 4Kids left in its wake when it came to some of its censorship decisions, especially considering One Piece's audience definitely being older than kids, and the fact Yu-Gi-Oh! Had most things explained with the Shadow Realm. But the decision to remove the Legend of Dratina was an interesting one. It made sense in terms of the gun not being appropriate. I mean, what could they have replaced those scenes with? A finger? Oh, wait, they did that multiple times. Oh dear. The biggest issue is it leaves a hole in terms of an explanation to the viewer. Ash now has 30 Tauros. How? We see them all the time, but we have no idea how he managed to get a hold of all of them, or why he selects one particular one. We also never get to see the Safari Zone again. It definitely leaves you feeling a bit confused as to how we got there. The dub also has multiple episodes banned due to the believed perception of racial undertones and stereotypes. The most latest banning of a Pokemon episode in relation to this was a Sun and Moon episode. Episode 64 where Ash uses paint to imitate the appearance of Pasmian. Every other episode banned under this is in relation to the Pokemon Jinx. A Pokemon that in itself could receive its own video due to the believed stereotypes that it represents. Multiple episodes are banned due to the appearance of Jinx. 3 retroactively, Holiday Hijinks, Stage Fright, and the Mandarin Island mismatch, while another was completely unaired in episode 250. As a quick detour, the Pokemon short Pikachu and Pichu was retroactively banned in Japan due to the conviction of the short's narrator in 2009. This remains the only Pokemon short banned that has not been released, and was actually excluded from the Pikachu Movie Premium box, which featured every single short from 1998 to 2010 that were traditionally shown before the film's premiere. Multiple episodes have been banned in countries outside of Japan and the West. A handful of episodes have been banned in South Korea due to the tense relations with Japan. The episodes banned perceived to show too much of an overt reference to Japanese culture. Restrictions in relation to anime media in South Korea have existed for the last 30 plus years, and due to this a handful of episodes, just over 15 as a matter of fact, are banned for this reason. The issues with these ones, however, is that there's a lot of continuity errors which were created off the back of these bans. These include the greatest episode ever created, featuring the legendary Metapod vs Metapod battle, that eventually led to Ash obtaining his Butterfree. Multiple badges were skipped, including the Rainbow badge in the Indigo League, and the Zephyr badge in Johto. We even miss a Pokemon League match. A A few episodes were banned or skipped in other countries, including the Song of Jigglypuff in Turkey, which featured the debut of Jigglypuff, and the Bicker the Better in places like Ireland. There have never been actual confirmations for why these were skipped, but they have been. We also have quite a few instances where episodes were pulled or banned for a period of time due to in real life events. These episodes, however, were eventually allowed back into circulation. A Undersea Place to Call Home was an episode due to air in 2014. This episode was eventually postponed for an extended period of time due to the capsizing of the MV Sewol ferry in South Korea. The episode was felt to be inappropriate timing, and thus a decision was made to pull it for a period of time, and it was eventually released at a later date. Some episodes were pulled from circulation after air date for a period of time, including Tentacool and Tentacruel, an episode which is featured in the opening of Pokemon, which shows Tentacruel destroying a building, as well as the Tower of Terror episode. Kids WB refused to allow these to re-air in 2001 due to the in real life events, with the former featuring the destruction of buildings, and the later having a title that felt inappropriate. Like An Undersea Place to Call Home, this episode would eventually be re-released into circulation. Mewtwo's storyline was also seen to be very controversial, due to its heavy links with cloning and death, and as such the uncut story origin of Mewtwo was excluded from overseas releases of the film. It was eventually re-released as a special inclusion on the DVD release of Mewtwo Returns, but that DVD is now out of print, and as such it remains lost in those versions alone. And that is all the forbidden episodes in Pokemon. Growing up, a lot of these episodes definitely filled in a lot of blanks I never understood about the series, especially things like Ash having 30 Tauros. There was shown to be quite a willingness to pull or delay episodes due to time-sensitive issues, which is quite important for a series to have a general understanding of current in real-life events, and an understanding that airing these episodes isn't right for the current time. I want to know, do you remember the forbidden Pokemon episodes? Do you remember first hearing about Electric Soldier Porygon? Is there anything classed as forbidden that's new information to you? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe as it really helps out my channel. Oh, and follow me on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. I follow back any fellow Pokemon fans and would love to hear from you guys. See you next time.